All right, welcome to this podcast episode. This is a very, very special one. Welcome to Alexa in Canada. I am Teri Fisher, and this is really cool because I'm sitting on my drum set today. As you may know, over the last little while, I have been doing some drumming and sharing it on social media, and I thought it would be a really fun, entertaining, hopefully, way of sharing a little bit about some of my thoughts on voice, but using the drums as an example of ways that we can illustrate some of the concepts. And so today I want to do that. And I'm going to ask you to indulge me a little bit, use your imagination a little bit here. We're going to be pretending that the drums are voices. In some cases, you're actually going to hear voices from the drums. And at some points, I may have to ask you to stretch and use your imagination a little bit, but it's going to be fun. I hope you'll find this very entertaining. So what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about voice and why I believe that voice is the next operating system. As you know, technology has gone through a lot of evolutions, right? We've started with initially a keyboard as a way to interface with the computer. That eventually turned into a mouse. That eventually turned into a touch screen with our mobile phones. And now we're getting to the point where we can now just speak to a computer. And there are 5 main reasons why I feel that voice is the next operating system. And I want to share that with you. And so what I've come up with is a concept using the 5 letters of voice, V-O-I-C-E. And each one of those stands for a particular concept and why I believe that this is so important and why voice is the next operating system. So let's jump right into that. And with each one of these, I'm going to give you a little bit of an example using the drums. So V stands for versatile. And what I mean by that is when you are using your voice, you can do multiple things at once. In other words, you can multitask. When you are texting, for example, you should not be driving. But when you're using your voice, you could be driving, you could be working out, you could be bathing your kids, you could be cooking, you could be doing all kinds of things. And that's one of the really interesting and key concepts about voice is the fact that it is extremely versatile. Okay. And so let's have a little bit of fun with the drums. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to play a little bit for you. And I want you to pretend that the drums are a voice. And just imagine that and maybe you are doing something as you're listening to this, just as you're listening to my voice. Let's have some fun with the drums, and you'll note that you can do whatever you want to be doing while you're listening to the drums, okay? So here we go. Let's have a little bit of fun with this. All right, so there you go. So imagine that is a voice and you are listening to it and you are doing whatever you want at that particular time. That is the power of the versatility of voice. The next one is O, and that's for omnipresent. And omnipresent, that means that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you could be looking in a different direction, but sound, voice is all around you. Right? You don't necessarily need to be looking in the direction of where the sound is coming from to be aware of it. Unlike, say, if you're reading something, obviously you have to be looking directly at it, otherwise you can't get the message. And so we're going to have a little bit of fun again. I'm going to play this on the drums, and the type of drum set that I'm going to be using for this one hopefully gives you a sense of sound all around you. And again, a little bit of a stretch here. Use your imagination, but I hope you'll enjoy this. Hope it'll be entertaining for you. And again, imagine, maybe even close your eyes and get that sense of the sound all around you. And perhaps you can imagine that is a voice as well. Okay, so here we go. All right, so there you go. Hopefully you get a sense of the sound all around you with that one. Okay, let's move on to I. And I refers to innate. If you think about it, the very first way that we communicate when we are born is through our voices, right? When we're born, when we're a baby, the first thing that we do is we cry. Any other type of communication, we have to learn. We have to learn how to type. We have to learn how to read. We have to learn how to write. But using the voice is the most innate way that we know how to communicate. And so for fun, for this little sample here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a drum set. As you may have noticed, the sound of the drums changes based on the example here. And because I'm on an electronic drum set, I can actually change the sounds. And for this one here, I'm actually going to use a drum set that has all voice sounds. So this is just, again, to have some fun with it, illustrate that, yes, indeed, voice is innate. And all of the sounds that you're going to hear are essentially sounds that I'm playing on the drums, but they are sounds of voices. I think you'll have some fun with this one. All right, so here we go. All right, there we go. A little bit of fun with that one. Okay. Let's move on to C, V-O-I-C. And C refers to contextual. And what I mean by that is that when I say something, I could sound really happy or I could sound sad. And voice allows us to distinguish emotions just from the sound of it. You know, if you write an email or if you get an email, has this ever happened to you where you kind of misinterpret what is being said because you can't really hear the emotion? Is that person being sarcastic? Is that person being funny? Is that person kind of being, I don't know, mean? Or it's hard to pull out those emotions. And so what's really interesting about voice is that when you hear it, you can hear emotion. And what I'd like to do now is play you a couple of different samples for this example. And I just want to see if you can pull out the emotion just simply by listening to the sound, similar to the way you would listen to the sound of a voice. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have some fun with this one. So I'm going to play a couple different examples. Here is the first one. So let me just get the drum set up appropriately for that. Okay, and let's go. What kind of emotion is this portraying? All right, now let's do a very, very different type of emotion. All right, what do you think about this one? All right. And how about this one? Remember, this is all from the drums. This one's a little different. See what kind of emotion this one brings out. So there you go, huh? A little different for that one. That was actually a haunted house drum set. Pretty fun. Okay, the last one here. We're going to set this one up. So when we get to E in voice, E refers to efficient. Just as an example, the average person can type, yes, there's some variability, but the average person can type about 40 words per minute, while the average person can speak about 150 words per minute. That's about a 3 to 4 times faster rate of speaking than typing. And so voice is extremely efficient. And if there's something that's efficient, that tends to be adopted more rapidly. And so this is the final key concept that I think is really important. To illustrate this one, what I want to suggest to you is that I'm going to play something for you on the drums that is quite a complex drum set. There are a lot of parts to it, and I'm just going to play each one of these drums. And the point here is that in order for me to actually explain to you the parts of the drums and what the sounds are, this takes time. It's quite a complex sounding drum set. Whereas if I were just to play it for you, you would hear it. It's just that much more efficient to hear the sound and know what it is as opposed to having to explain it. So I'm just going to play a little bit of this drum set and explain to you the different parts of it. The interesting thing about this drum set is that it is actually all made up of different guitar sounds and they're mapped to the different drums. So if I were to play the bass drum, which is the drum that I play with my right foot, it's actually got a guitar sound built in. Have a listen. And depending on if I hold that bass drum down, I do a quick hit, the guitar sound stops, or if I kind of hit the drum and let it go, it rings out. It's got some sustain. So that itself, just with that one drum, there's a little bit of variability. And then if I were to play the other drums, I'll just get you to have a listen to these. A guitar sound, different chords on the different drums, kind of a more mellow guitar sound, a little bit of a strumming sound, a little bit of a guitar hit, a guitar slide, a little bit of a rhythmic sound on the guitar, all kinds of different guitar sounds and chords. And so you can hear that. To explain what each one of those things are, and I didn't go into that much detail, it takes some time. Now, if I just play this for you, I'm actually going to play a drum beat using all guitar sounds, and you can hear what this sounds like. This one's a lot of fun. This is one of my favorite drum sets as well on the electronic kit. So here we go. Have some fun with this. Have a listen. Of fun. So hopefully that was kind of a fun podcast for you. I hope you enjoyed that. VOICE, voice, versatile, omnipresent, innate, contextual, efficient. All of these things are what goes together to make voice what I believe is the next operating system. And of course, that includes the various voice assistants, including Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, Samsung Bixby, and on the rest. So, please let me know your thoughts on this podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you liked the idea of me using drums to illustrate some points and you want to hear that some more in the future, let me know. I'd be happy to do this. And thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for indulging me with your patience for this podcast episode where I tried something new. And I want to remind you that coming up very soon, we have the Voice Den, May 20th. And it's all about interactivity with voice fluencers that are on the show, and you get a chance to interact with them. So it's not like your traditional webinar in any way. You get to come on, you get to speak with them. It's kind of like Shark Tank, and it should be a lot of fun. May 20th, 2020. The information is at thevoiceden.com. I will see you there. Until next week, have a great week, Northern Voice, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thanks again for tuning in.
Hey YouTubers, if you liked what you just saw, then feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't be afraid to speak up.